There we go. First fish on in the morning. River's kind of high this morning. Didn't get any strikes in a couple places that I expected to, but got a couple strikes on the last cast, and so I got this guy just hooked. All right, first fish of the morning. Pretty nice little brook trout. Settle down, buddy, and we'll get you unhooked and get you back in the river. Pretty little Nantahala River brook trout here. Caught on a single hook, track down minnow. Let's get this guy unhooked and let him go. River is fairly high this morning. We've had a lot of rain in the region. It also has more color than is normal for this section of river, which I think should be good for my approach. As you get a little further into the season, into the spring, late spring, these fish sometimes get a little more insect oriented, which doesn't favor the way I like to fish quite as much overall. But when it's running high, they're still a little bit more in ambush mode, and like some of the bigger baits, like the track down ghost minnow that I'm fishing right now. Not seen as much activity through this pool as I would like. I've caught one nice brook trout and had a couple of followers, but I'm not going to stay in any one spot very long. Probably move on here in just a minute. I was making my last cast for this spot, and just as the bait came into sight, it had a big dark shadow behind it. Tried to give it a couple more casts. I doubt the same fish will commit again. It was very dark looking and probably was a brown trout. And usually when decent browns, once they've rejected something, they're done. A rainbow will keep coming after it again and again, but in my experience is when the brown follows it up and decides against it, especially the better ones, they're usually done. Oh, there we go. Whew. Oh, he hit that aggressively in that current. Another brook trout. Oh no, that was kind of sloppy handling on my part. Trying to horse that fish too much. That was a little careless on my part. He came at it hard and blasted it and got him in a bad spot and just tried to swing him out of there. I needed to slow down on him a little bit. But it's one that bit it and was on for a little bit, so that's certainly a good sign. It's like a similar brook trout to the first one I caught, maybe even just a tiny bit bigger. Had real pretty color. I've had caught one fish on the track down ghost minnow, and I had one on the Lindy Spring, but not getting a ton of follows, so I'm gonna change things up here and miss that cast. That's probably not gonna do anything. I almost didn't cast it in the water. But I put on a black Lindy B-Max little nipper, and just a narrow profile feather jig that those, when it's drifting, those feathers have just a real subtle but almost constant movement, and it just has a nice profile. Could be buggier, like a little slender minnow as it comes through the water. There's something a little more subtle, but that black should give it a decent visibility, even though the water's a little off color. So see if they want something just a little less flashy. Can't cast this quite like I could the spoon or the minnow, but you can get it out there enough to certainly put it in front of plenty of fish and just there we go. Oh, a big jump on that one. Wow, a feisty one here. Oh, he threw it. Wow, what a feisty fish. That's a couple that I've lost today. Don't know that I could have done much different on that one. That fish, that just was a high energy fish and might not had quite a good enough hook in him, but did not take many casts to hook one up with the little nipper, so I'm hopeful that I figured something out here. Let's see if it repeats itself. There we go. One on here. See if we can land this guy. Lost two of them in a row. He's not jumping, so maybe that'll help. All right, another brook trout. That seems to be what's in here mostly there. At least what's biting this morning. That's one on and one that got off and one caught in pretty short order since I tied on this little nipper. So maybe that's gonna be the ticket this morning. We'll find out. We'll keep on trying. Let this guy go and see if he's got a buddy. Oh, all right. Well, caught him at least. Didn't get a very good look. And it looked like that one was a rainbow. Thought for a second it was another brook trout, but I'm pretty certain that was another rainbow. And it hit right at the end of the cast, so almost right under my rod. Realized I didn't have the camera on. Keep it down long enough to make it flop, get it flopping off. So there we go. Feels like a decent fish. Right there at the bottom of that shoal came up and hit the ghost minnow. What do we got here? I can't really tell if it's good or not. Oh, it's a nice rainbow. Beautiful rainbow. Not huge, but good size and beautiful color. And a reverse bag. Oh yeah, that's a good fish. Really pretty rainbow trout. And that ghost minnow. Oh, have to lose my rod. Yeah, we'll try landing him again. Pretty rainbow trout. The track down ghost minnow. That thing's got really beautiful markings for a hatchery fish. It's even got like a little red underneath the throat, almost like cutthroat have. That's pretty. Get him back in the water. Kind of true to the way it's been today. That fish hit on really the first good presentation I made up there because I hung the first couple of times. But then I haven't got anything else. So it seems like there's in every area there's 1, 2, 3 fish that will either swipe at it or hit it, or and then it shuts down. They seem to be tuning into it quick, and I haven't caught a bunch from anywhere. It still doesn't seem to me like there's as many fish in the river as sometimes is the case. Whether I'm just not tapping into them or there's really a smaller number in here, I guess I won't ever know. Got one here. That was in this little run just up from me, and that I'd actually had fished a little earlier. Before I waded through it, I wanted to make a cast just in case. Remind you why that's a good thing to do. Pretty brook trout. Just right up there, just only in a couple of feet of water, but there's a nice little pocket, and I press it up there and ran it through. There you go, buddy. Try another cast in the same little run. just in case he had somebody with him. I didn't really make a very good presentation into it that time. I hit the current too quickly. I just pitched it right out there and switched it a couple times and he hopped on it. It's something that I often have to remind myself of, and sometimes regret when I won't do. I'll walk right through a little spot and see fish get spooked that I would have had a chance to have caught if I'd made a cast before doing so. Oh, there we go. Another one that was in a little pocket. That's actually the same pocket that last one that got off is on, except I'm fishing it from the other side. I'm above it instead of below it. Another brook trout. And that track down there. The fish seem to me like they've got more active as the day has gone on. And I don't know if I've just been in a little bit better spots a little bit later or if that's actually been the case, but I've had more activity in the last little while than I did earlier in the day. I was feeling like I was really having to work for them earlier, and they're biting pretty good now. No sign of interest in the jig, and oh, I say that, I hook a fish. Never mind. I was going to say they seem to like it better earlier in the day and have been more on the track down minnow, but got a pretty good brook trout that decided it wanted that Lindy jig, Lindy D-Max little nipper. Oh yeah, it's a pretty brook trout. That's pretty good. It's kind of light line, hey? Sorry, bud. I didn't mean to flop you around that much. Alright, alright. Well, that wasn't a very good display, but it was an easy release. Oh, another follower. It might have been the same one that followed a couple casts back. Give him just a moment and then try it again. When I have a fish follow me that follows the bait enough that it moves a little bit off of the spot where it would have first seen it, I don't like to cast immediately back to the same spot, because usually that fish, a lot of fish tend to have their ambush points that they're set up on any given day, and when they're pulled off of that, when it comes through again, they're really not that likely to go after it. They might not even see it if they're not in position, or if they do see it, I think it triggers just sort of an instinctive suspicion when something that should be food comes right back to them just immediately afterwards. So, oh, there we go. So what I'll do instead is switch to a different direction, go make another cast, a couple other casts, and then go back. And by that time, that fish is usually back in its position and is more willing to feed. We've got a brown trout here. That's the first brown of the day. That's nice. Not a huge one, but a nice solid one. We can get a decent look at him. There we go. Yeah, pretty brown trout. And that was actually the cast I made in a different direction. That's not the same fish that swiped at me before, because like I was talking about, I was trying to let that fish wrestle. Oh, there's a quick release on that guy. So now that it's been a little, after it's been a bit, then I'll go back in the direction where I was, and I don't know whether the fish will be there or not, but I feel like it's more likely to be back in its ambush position and try it again if you give it a little bit of a hesitation. Did not see anything following it there, so it may already be used to things. But that's I think a valuable concept is to not go straight back at that fish that follows it away. There's one following it. I think that's the same fish. That's a brook trout. He got a pretty good look at him. He's not real big, but I saw him following it up off of that same area. The second to cast back to it, he did go after it, but he kind of turned off it. I don't think that one's ever gonna commit if he's followed up and not quite bit twice. Something doesn't look quite right to him. Oh, there's a fish. Oh, that's a good one. Decent, pretty good rainbow. I was about to give up on the spot. This bluff is usually a pretty good spot, but it's also a very popular spot. And I was surprised that the pull-off was even open. But a lot of times when the pull-off is open, that means that someone just left. So it's almost like you've been fishing it for a while. But I put that one right against the bluff, and he splashed through it and got it. You got him hooked. Here's a little on the outside. I was afraid I had him in the eye. It's not quite. It's just barely out of there. Oh yeah, that's a pretty rainbow trout. I think that's the third rainbow today, and I got one brown, and everything else has been a brook trout. Let this guy go. See you, buddy. Probably not far from heading across the mountain. It's been a good day of fishing. I kind of worked my way down and then back upstream, hitting some spots that I've already fished. Started out really slow and never really just torn them up today. They haven't hit a spot where I've caught, like, so usually there's a couple of casts that are pretty much into a school of trout where you'll catch several on the same cast, repeating the same, or an area at least, a pool that you catch several fish. And that really hasn't been the case at all today. But I've picked at them all through the day and caught several, including one brown trout and a few rainbows and several brook trout. So I've had a nice mix, and the quality hasn't been bad, and just a fun day of catching trout. Not a bad day at the office.